Something feels wrong and you sense it before you even open your eyes, as if the day has already started in a different way, and as if something has already happened and you just haven't realized it yet. You wake up with this strange feeling that everything is normal, maybe even too normal. The sky is clear without a single cloud. The sun slowly begins to rise, lighting up the streets while people go on with their routines like any other morning light. Footsteps, quiet conversations, doors opening, the distant sound of the city waking up. Everything looks exactly as it should, but the more you look, the stronger that feeling becomes. You can't explain what it is. It's not a sound. It's not something you see. It's just a silent pressure, as if the air feels heavier, as if the silence is too deep. You look around and no one seems to notice. No one seems to feel it, but deep down you know something isn't right. And then you look up at the sky, and for a brief moment, everything feels too strange to ignore. You catch yourself staring at the sky for a few seconds without even realizing when it started, trying to understand what exactly made you stop, because there's nothing clearly wrong. No strange clouds, no unusual sounds, just that wide, empty blue stretching farther than it should. And for a moment you think maybe it was nothing, just a distraction, just a random pause. But the feeling doesn't go away around you. The city moves like it always does. People walking, talking, going through their routines like any other morning. Light footsteps, quiet voices, doors opening, the distant sound of the city waking up. Everything is exactly where it should be, but something inside you doesn't fit into that normality. You start paying attention to the details, the rhythm of people, the way they move, the echo of voices in the streets. Everything feels slightly out of place. Not in an obvious way, but in a way that lingers, like something is just a little misaligned, as if reality itself shifted slightly and no one else noticed. You take a breath, trying to ignore it, trying to fall back into the flow of the day, but it doesn't fade. It grows slowly, quiet and constant. You look up at the sky again, and this time something catches your attention. Not something clear, not something you can immediately understand, but enough to make you narrow your eyes, like you're trying to focus on something far away, something very far. Your body reacts before your mind does. Your heart speeds up slightly, not out of fear, but awareness, like something is about to happen and your body already knows it before you do. You look around expecting someone else to react, expecting any sign that it's not just you. But no one stops. No one looks. No one questions anything. Everything continues exactly the same, and that only makes it worse, because if something was truly wrong, someone else should notice, someone else should feel it, but there is no reaction at all, and that leaves you feeling isolated, like you're the only one who can see beyond what's happening on the surface. You take a few slow steps, almost automatic, like you're being guided by that feeling, trying to understand what's happening. The air feels heavier now, not suffocating but present, constant, like it's pressing gently around you. You try to ignore it, but you can't. Your attention returns to the sky once more, and now that feeling turns into something clearer. Something is there, something that shouldn't be there, and even from far away, even barely visible. You know it doesn't belong. To this moment, you don't know what it is, you don't know where it came from, but you know it shouldn't be there. And as you stare at that nearly invisible point, one single thought slowly forms in your mind. Maybe this day isn't normal. Maybe it never was. You keep looking at the sky longer than you should, and this time you realize you're not the only one or two people nearby. Pause for a moment, as if they were pulled by the same feeling. Someone narrows their eyes. Someone raises a hand to block the sunlight, trying to see more clearly. But no one says anything. No one understands what's happening yet, and that only makes it stranger, because there is no alarm, no sound, no warning. Just a quiet discomfort slowly spreading between people, like a question no one can answer. You look away for a second, trying to regain control, trying to convince yourself that maybe it's nothing. But when you look back, it's still there, distant, almost invisible, but now impossible to ignore. You begin to notice that more people are seeing it too. Not all at once, not in any organized way, but little by little. Someone stops walking. Someone slows down. Someone looks up for longer than they should. And for a brief moment, it feels like the city loses its rhythm, as if something has interrupted the natural flow of the day. And even then, no one truly reacts, no one runs, no one panics, no one understands enough to act. And that creates a strange tension because everything still looks too normal to be danger, and at the same time too wrong to ignore. You start hearing small comments around you, quiet questions exchanged between strangers, confused looks searching for answers in the people nearby, but no one has one. No one knows what that is, and that lack of answers feels heavier than any explanation. Your body is on alert. Now, this is no longer just a vague feeling. There is something real there, something that more people are beginning to notice, something that doesn't belong to this moment. You take a few steps, almost without thinking, trying to find a better angle, trying to understand what you're looking at. But the more you try, the harder it becomes to ignore it. It looks small, but it shouldn't be there. And that thought starts growing inside you in a way you can't stop. You begin to notice that the silence around you has changed. It's no longer the calm silence of an ordinary morning. It feels heavy, like the entire environment is waiting for something, as if everyone is stuck in the same moment without knowing what to do. You look around again, and now it's clear they see it too. Maybe not fully, maybe not the same way you do, but enough to break the normal flow, and that changes everything. Because when more than one person starts noticing, it means it's real. It means it's not just in your head. And that realization brings something new. Not just unease, but anticipation. Something is about to happen, and no one here is ready for what comes next. You keep trying to understand what you're looking at, but this time there's no way to pretend it's just a vague feeling anymore. It's there, and now it's clear enough for more people around you to see it too. It's no longer something that can be ignored. Like before, the number of people looking up increases quickly, and the behavior begins to change. Someone stops completely in the middle of the street. Someone calls out to another person. Someone points subtly, trying to confirm they're not imagining it. But the answer is already there in everyone's eyes. They're all starting to see the same thing. And that changes everything, because what once felt like doubt now begins to turn into something more concrete. Something no one can explain, but everyone can feel. The air feels even heavier now, and the silence isn't silent anymore. It's filled with tension. Like the entire environment is waiting for an answer that never comes. You notice that the conversations around you have changed. They're no longer just curious comments now. There's urgency in people's voices, even if it's still controlled, even if no one is shouting yet. You hear the same questions repeating. What is? That does anyone know what's happening? But there are no answers, and that absence of explanation starts to become frightening. Because the more people see it, the more real it becomes, and the more real it becomes, the harder it is to ignore what it might mean. You focus on that point in the sky again, and now it's impossible to deny. It looks bigger, or maybe just more visible, but somehow more present than before. Your body reacts more intensely now. Your heart beats faster. Your breathing shifts slightly. And this time, it's not just a quiet alert. There's something else, something heavier, something closer to fear forming inside you. Not a clear fear, not something you can name, but something that grows without needing an explanation around you. You notice that some people begin to step away slowly, as if instinctively trying to create distance. From something they still don't understand, others remain frozen, staring at the sky, unable to look away, as if they're searching for an answer. In that distant point, someone drops something without noticing. Someone takes a step back, without knowing why. Small signs that control is starting to slip. You feel it too, that sense that something is slipping out of control, that this moment should not be happening. And yet it is. You look around again, and now there's no doubt anymore. It's not just you. It's not just a few people, it's a growing crowd, all looking at the same place, trying to understand the same thing. And that changes the entire atmosphere. What was once an ordinary morning now feels like a moment suspended in time, as if everything has stopped without actually stopping, as if everyone is trapped in that single instant waiting for something. No one can predict. You try to think rationally, trying to find any logical explanation, but nothing makes sense. Nothing fits. Because whatever that is, it doesn't belong to this scene, it doesn't belong to this moment. And the more you try to understand, the clearer it becomes. This isn't something normal. It's not a plane. It's not something natural. It's nothing you've ever seen before. And that realization settles inside you with a weight you can't ignore. Something is seriously wrong, and whatever is about to happen won't be small. You can't look away, even without fully understanding what you're seeing. Something inside you already knows this moment cannot be ignored, and everything around you seems to slow down, as if time itself is stretching, as if every second is being pulled longer than it should. People around you are no longer pretending everything is normal. Now everyone is looking in the same direction, all locked onto that same point in the sky that once felt insignificant, but now dominates everything. And for a brief moment, there is complete silence, not a normal silence, but a heavy one. As if the entire world is holding its breath at the same time. You feel it in your body, in your chest, in the air around you. Everything feels suspended, waiting for something no one can name. And then it happens first, a light unlike anything you've ever seen. It's not just brightness, it's not just clarity. It's something deeper, something stronger, something impossible to ignore. It appears suddenly filling the sky as if it had always been there, but is only now being revealed. Your eyes react before you can even think. You try to look, but it's too intense, impossible to hold. Your vision slips for a moment, and when you try to focus again, everything has changed. What was once just a distant point is now something undeniable, a presence, a force that takes over the space, that breaks any sense of normality around you. The world reacts. People scream for the first time. Someone runs. Someone tries to shield themselves. Someone freezes, unable to understand what is happening, but there is no time to understand. The air shifts violently. The silence disappears, replaced by a deep, heavy sound. Something you feel before you even hear it. As if it's coming from inside you. As if it's moving through everything around you. You feel the pressure before you understand what it means, and then the impact, an invisible force pushing everything in its path, turning movement into chaos, ripping control away from anyone there. The ground seems to tremble. The air moves like a wall, advancing without stopping. You can't react. You can't think. Everything is happening too fast, too intense. Your vision fails for a moment. Your body loses balance, and even without fully understanding, this is not just an event, this is something far bigger. Something that should not exist in this place, in this moment around you. Everything changes in an irreversible way. What was once routine is now rupture. What was once normal is now unrecognizable. And in the middle of it all, one single truth becomes clear. There is no going back. The moment has already happened, and nothing will ever be the same again. For a moment, everything disappears. There is no sound, no movement, no direction, just a strange emptiness, as if the world was interrupted in the middle of a thought. And when your awareness begins to return, it doesn't come back whole. It comes in fragments, scattered, confused, as if your mind is trying to rebuild something that no longer makes sense. You try to understand where you are. You try to remember what just happened. But everything feels distant, as if it happened long ago, even though you know it's only been seconds. The air around you is no longer the same. It carries something different, something heavy, something difficult to describe. You breathe, but every breath feels incomplete, as if something is wrong. Even with that, your ears begin to catch distorted sounds, distant echoes, noises that don't fit together. And for a few seconds, you can't tell what is real and what is just a reflection of what just happened. Your vision slowly starts to adjust, and what appears in front of you doesn't look like anything you recognize. The scene has changed in an irreversible way. What once felt familiar now feels distant, displaced, as if it has been turned into something else. You try to focus on details, trying to find anything that makes sense, but you can't, because everything around you carries marks of what just happened. Marks that shouldn't exist, marks that cannot be ignored. You start to notice movement, but it's not normal movement. It's not the flow of a living city. It's something different. Slow, uncoordinated, as if people are trying to understand their own bodies, trying to reconnect with reality. You see someone standing still without reaction. You see someone moving without direction. You see someone trying to speak, but the words don't come out right. And all of this creates a feeling even heavier than the impact itself, because now it's no longer anticipation. It's no longer something about to happen. It already happened, and the consequences are right in front of you. You feel it in your body, in the way you breathe, in the way you try to think. Nothing works the same anymore. There is a before and an after, and you are exactly at the point where that line was broken. You try to process it, but you can't. Not yet, because something inside you already knows what happened, cannot be undone, cannot be reversed, cannot be ignored. And as you look at what remains around you, one single truth settles in your mind. This was not just a moment. It was the beginning of something that changed everything.